So here we go again. Another USAID scandal, and another chunk of your hard-earned tax dollars funding it against yourself. USAID, the agency that claimed to be spreading democracy, was actually bankrolling censorship, silencing American voices, and running political smear campaigns against the United States. That's right, you paid for it. And wait until you hear just how deep this deception goes. We'll be pulling back the curtain on USAID's dirty little secrets and their backdoor tactics to shut down dissent against all the creepy little things of the radical woke Marxist propaganda. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already, become a subscriber to the channel. Hit that notification bell and smack that like button because it helps us get our message out to more people. Also, we're doing a live stream tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We're going to read some interesting news stories of the week and tweak them with a bit of humor, a dash of sarcasm, and a lot of conservative common sense. Join us because everybody has a good time. All right, this is our second video on USAID. So let's talk about it. The U.S. Agency for International Development, it sounds noble, right? Helping struggling nations, promoting democracy, feeding the poor. Well, what if I told you that USAID has been quietly funding censorship programs targeting Americans who dare to challenge the official narrative of the government? Yeah, your tax dollars at work, silencing you. According to Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat, Connecticut, USAID supports freedom fighters everywhere in this world. Let's be honest. Freedom fighters is a broad term. It could mean everything from heroes defending liberty to well-connected lobbyists stuffing their pockets to, let's just say, more questionable actors. The violent communist thug Che Guevara was once called a freedom fighter too. How'd that turn out? Here's the thing. USAID was funding groups that were actively working to silence certain American voices. Conservatives. That's right. The agency you paid for was bankrolling smear campaigns against U.S. citizens. Probably you if you're watching this channel. Just take a look at the Zinc Network, a so-called anti-disinformation group. Sounds harmless, right? Except they've been busy labeling people like journalist Max Blumenthal, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Representative Andy Biggs, the Republican from Arizona, as dangerous disinformation threats. In other words, USAID is using your money to shut down conservative free speech. How do you like that? I thought USAID was created by JFK via executive order to give financial aid to foreign countries. We went over that gobbledygook nonsense that they funded in other countries in our last video, but to fund groups that are attacking American citizens who have done nothing wrong was so Biden regime. And it doesn't stop there. Ever heard of V-Fluence? USAID gave them money to go after journalists like Michael Pollan and Mark Bittman for daring to expose big agriculture's dirty little secrets with our food. Because apparently if you question the food industry, my goodness, that makes you an enemy of the state, according to the libnuts. Just look at how much they are attacking Elon Musk for simply pointing out the waste, fraud, and abuse and the gobbledygook nonsense of USAID. They used foreign loopholes. Here's how USAID skirted the law. You might be wondering, wait a second, isn't the U.S. government banned from using propaganda on its own citizens? Yes. Yes, it is. But don't worry, USAID found a little workaround. Instead of running censorship programs directly, they funneled your tax dollars to foreign organizations that did their dirty work for them. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? It should. Dr. Anthony Fauci pulled the same bullshit with gain-of-function research, using a third-party group to send money to the Wuhan lab. He sent grants to Echo Health Alliance, who then transferred the money to Wuhan. That's without question. When people want to break the rules, they just use a middleman. So who does USAID use to get around legal restrictions? Or should I say, break the law with your money? One of their favorites is called Internews. This lovely little group takes that money and funds Ukrainian media outlets like New Voice of Ukraine or Vox Ukraine, Detector Media, and the Institute of Mass Information. And what do these guys do? Well, for starters, they've been cranking out reports labeling respected American voices like economist Jeffrey Sachs, Tucker Carlson, independent journalist Glenn Greenwald. and Professor John Mearsheimer as Kremlin propagandists. Can you believe this? What is it with libnuts in Russia? Why do they always point to Vladimir Putin when it was the Clintons and the Bidens who made tons of money off of Russia? So with these people, if you support peace negotiations instead of endless wars, that automatically makes you a Russian agent. That's a classic radical woke Marxist propaganda move, if you ask me. Now we get to USAID's censorship machine. Vox Ukraine, as I said, one of these USAID funded outlets is an official fact-checking partner for Meta, Facebook. So they don't just write hit pieces. They actually get to decide what you can and can't see on social media. See how that game was played? Government money funds the phony fact checkers, and the fact checkers label everything that goes against their narrative as disinformation. Could this be why Mark Zuckerberg came out recently and said that he no longer wants to be in the censorship game? I mean, after Trump won, he had to know that his people were going to find out about USAID, and I'm sure there are at least a dozen other government agencies that the communist Democrats have radicalized. The mother Zucker probably didn't want to get lumped in with the evil of those groups, so he tried to distance himself before the investigators got to him. That sounds reasonable, right? Meanwhile, Detector Media, another USAID-funded outfit, pumps out propaganda that conveniently makes its way into Western media outlets, giving it that polished independent journalism look. And guys, there's nothing independent about it. Oh, and guess what? The Democrats are freaking out now that USAID has been shut down. The leftists are screaming about it. I wonder why. Could it be that they're upset that their favorite global piggy bank and censorship tool has been exposed? That they're mad that their taxpayer-funded propaganda machine is getting a little too much sunlight? And you know what they say about sunlight? It's the best disinfectant. I always say, follow the money. So how much of your money is going into this nonsense? Let's check the receipts. USAID funded Detector Media with special grants to undermine Kremlin information operations. That's global speak for silence conservative voices. That sounds on the up and up, right? Until you realize that it means that you're silencing people under the guise of fighting Russian influence. It's always silencing the right with these clowns. As an example, in 2021, 35.1% of Detector Media's budget, nearly $1 million, guys, came from USAID through the Internews money laundering scheme. By 2023, USAID cut out the middleman and just handed Detector Media $2.5 million directly. Oh, and where do you get a hold of this crap? Axios put a piece out on Wednesday saying the executive branch will stop spending money on Politico's subscriptions after paying millions of dollars to the news outlet last year, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said at a briefing Wednesday. She said, quote, I was made aware of the funding of USAID to media outlets, including Politico. And I can confirm that the more than 8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayer's dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. This is a whole of government effort to ensure that we're going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. That's unbelievable, guys. So now you know how Politico stays alive and all those other leftist rags. I want a list of all those left-wing periodicals and online news sites that were getting funded by you and me. That's just total BS. So to wind this up, USAID takes your tax money, runs it through international cutouts, and then uses it to attack and silence Americans who don't toe the radical leftist government's line. And they call this democracy. I mean, it's a nice gig if you can get it, but I think the people who ran USAID have a lot of explaining to do because we're talking about a ton of money. Now, a notice went out from the Trump administration. It says on Friday, February 7, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. It says all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission critical functions, core leadership, and specially designated programs. Essential personnel expected to continue working will be informed by agency leadership by Thursday, February 6 at 3 p.m. Eastern. For USAID personnel currently posted outside the United States, the agency, in coordination with missions and the Department of State, is currently preparing a plan in accordance with all applicable requirements and laws under which the agency would arrange and pay for return travel to the United States within 30 days and provide for the termination of PSC and ISC contracts that are not determined to be essential. I would just leave them over there. You want to trash the United States? All right. See how you like living there permanently. They end it with, thank you for your service. And finally, just remember, guys, the Democrats and their leftist mob are not angry that USAID and these other departments and agencies in the federal government were using your tax dollars to violate your First Amendment free speech rights or any of the other waste, fraud, and abuse nonsense they were doing. They're angry because it was stopped. Never forget that. All right, thanks for watching. Hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with the latest government scandals and censorship exposés. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
Laughed at the mall 'cause your mama forgot.